Creation of job opportunities was also a high priority for the advocates of workers' rights. They submitted detailed recommendations ranging from the kind of foreign direct investment they considered desirable to the role that government should play to ensure the right kind of business practices. I list some of these below that this conference might see that despite many years of isolation and repression, our people can still boast a social, political, and economic awareness that, given sufficient latitude, would bring our country in line with positive developments in the rest of the world. I would here like to stress the problem of youth unemployment. As I have said repeatedly, it is not so much joblessness as hopelessness that threatens our future. Unemployed youth lose confidence in the society that has failed to give them the chance to realize their potential. Problems related to drink and drug abuse and vagrancy abound as restless, directionless youth agonize over the fruitlessness of their existence. Vocational training linked to job creation is imperative if we are to safeguard the future by giving our youth the capacity to handle effectively the responsibilities that will inevitably fall to them one day, which may not be that far away. Foreign direct investment that result in job creation should be invited. Investors should adhere to codes of best practices. Track records in regard to internationally accepted labor standards and environmental responsibility should be examined. Sustainable benefits, including the acquirement of modern technology, should be the aim. Responsible foreign investment in agribusiness could be beneficial with the right precautions taken to protect smallholders. State enterprises marked for privatization should be made more competitive, and small and medium-scale enterprises, such as electricity products and spare parts for machinery, encouraged. Preferred FDI were those related to the tourism and to the development of efficient financial services and basic infrastructure. Investment in the extractive industries should be approached with particular care. These above recommendations by representatives of workers are strikingly similar in many respects to those of an eminent economist who has studied the situation in Burma for many years. Development of the tourist industry, creation of a viable financial system, investment as a source of immediate job creation, as well as a source of new ideas, new techniques, and new technologies. He also advises transparency and accountability in the energy sector and the extractive industries in general. The Myanmar Oil and Gas Enterprise, MOGE, the state-owned company under the Ministry of Energy, with which all foreign participation in the energy sector takes place through joint venture arrangements, lacks both transparency and accountability at present. The government needs to apply internationally recognized standards, such as the IMF's Code of Good Practices on Fiscal Transparency. Other countries could help by not allowing their own companies to partner MOGE unless it was signed up to such codes. This would also ensure that their own companies would be subject to the above codes themselves and to the various requirements of publish what you pay. I support wholeheartedly the view that the domestic environment should be structured to make the best use of property rights, rule of law, broad economic stability, functioning infrastructure, which would include soft infrastructure, such as education and an honest, efficient civil service. Greater accessibility to energy, transport and communications, including telephonic and electronic communications, will need particular attention. There is a wide range of reforms that could be undertaken in Burma, not just to make investment attractive, but to make it sustainable and truly beneficial for our people. A democracy-friendly development policy of coordinated social, political, and economic reform will put our country once again on the map of the positive and the successful. No country can claim genuine development until all its peoples can enjoy the basic freedoms, freedom from want and freedom from fear. In such a discussion of potential economic progress, we cannot leave out those of our people who are suffering from insufficient protection of their rights as workers in other lands than our own. During my recent visit to Thailand, I had the opportunity of meeting migrant workers and their representatives and individuals and organizations dedicated to the protection of workers' rights. More than 80% of migrant workers in Thailand are from Burma. It was presented to me that in spite of the 2003 MOU and the 2009 nationality verification process to change irregular workers' status to legal status through issuing of Burmese passports, migrant workers are still facing frequent and significant rights violations because neither Burma nor Thailand has adopted a rights-based approach to managing migration, as exemplified in numerous ILO conventions, and most importantly, in the comprehensive 1990 UN Convention on the Rights of Migrant Workers and their families. Both countries continue to have no clear migration policy and migration management body, and neither country has taken a lead in ensuring the finalization of the stalled ASEAN framework on migrant workers. I understand that representatives of the State Enterprise Workers Relations Confederation will be making a detailed submission on the plight of migrant workers in Thailand to this conference. I would merely like to point out here that concerns related to migrant workers should receive similar consideration to those related to labor issues in our own country. So many of the migrant workers I met in Thailand told me, "We want to go home." All of us have a responsibility to make that home one to which they can come back in peace and in security. I appeal to the ILO to join in efforts to build a home that is a true sanctuary for all our peoples. Here, I would like to acknowledge with appreciation the members of the Thai administration who are participating in the resolution of migrant workers' issues with understanding and resolution. Host countries also deserve consideration and assistance that labor and international relations might be improved the world over. I welcome the resolution of the 101st session, in particular Section 7 to 12, that will enable the ILO to work more effectively to resolve all labor issues outstanding in our country and in countries where there are migrant workers from Burma. And here I've left myself an opportunity to make more work for our interpreters. Coming to this conference, I have learned that we can all work together. As I said earlier, I felt at home. I felt I had come back to meet members of my family. We are not just a family of nations. We are a family of peoples. People-to-people relationships are the most important kind of relationships. I would like you to think of Burma not just as a nation, but as peoples, human beings like all of you. I would like you to think of our young people especially as your own young people, your own children. I threatened the governing body this morning with boring the audience about my views on our young people, and I think I'm going to carry this threat out. During the campaign for the by-elections of April, I had the opportunity to meet young people from all parts of the country. We were trying to raise political awareness in our country, and it was amazing with what intelligence our young people responded to this campaign. And when I say young people, I start with toddlers. I was explaining how in many places we would see little children barely able to walk, coming out, running unsteadily to wave little flags to let us know that they supported us. And this is amazing. And those who could hardly talk could repeat slogans related to our work for democracy and human rights. I'm not sure they understood every word they were saying, but I think the spirit of political participation had been instilled in them. They were learning early in life that they must take part in the political process of our country if we are to make a meaningful future for them. And this encouraged me more than the results of the elections, which were of course very gratifying. But it was the conviction that our people are on the way to creating a society that is worthy of the potential that put such heart into me and to other members of my party. I would like all of you to come to Burma, not just to look at investment opportunities or to investigate workers' problems, but just to judge how much potential there is for good for the whole world. Our young people, as I said earlier, have such spirit in them, but they have not been educated. They have not received the kind of basic education that will enable them to take their rightful place in their country and in the world. We need to improve our education system. And as I said earlier, we need vocational training to be linked to job creation. We would like potential investors to think for us as well as for themselves. We understand that investors do not come purely for altruistic reasons. We accept that investments must pay off. Investments must lead to profits. But we would like these profits to be shared between the investors and our people. And most of all, we would like to invite the kind of investment that will share the skills of the rest of the world with our young people in Burma. So when you go back to your own countries, please encourage your governments, your businesses, your workers to help us to build the kind of society that will ensure the future of our country. This is my request to all of you, and having seen the warmth with which you regarded me as a representative of the people who want democracy and human rights in Burma, I'm certain that I can count on you to do your best. It is 30 years since I was last in Geneva. I'm not sure I recognize it, but my heart recognizes it, as my heart recognizes that we will be meeting again and again to resolve the problems that pose a threat to the future, not just of my country, but of the whole world. Now I will go back to the prepared text like a good speaker before I conclude. With the lifting or suspension of sanctions and with the restoration of the General System of Preferences, GSP, we will have an unprecedented opportunity for economic development that should be part and parcel of democracy-friendly, human rights development growth that will bring peace and prosperity to our country. I thank the ILO and the organizers of this conference for making it possible for me to stand here and call on workers, employers, governments, international businesses, international agencies, and organizations to join us in our efforts. Thank you. I don't understand why people say that I'm full of courage. I feel terribly nervous. Thank you.